Hello, everybody. I'm Chris Olds here with Reed Kasaoka of the Baseball Card Exchange in Linwood, Illinois.
Right.
And we're here for a slightly different episode of Rippin' Retail, a Rippin' Retail retro video with some vintage packs brought to you by the Baseball Card Exchange. And today we're going to tear into, after a quick discussion, a pair of 1975 Topps mini baseball packs. So, what in general? You're in Texas for a buying circuit.
Pretty much. I'm going throughout the South trying to buy different collections and made a couple-week trip out of it.
Cool. See, that's the kind of job we all need, right? On the road buying baseball cards.
It's not bad.
So when you're out buying cards or packs like these, what do you look for? Because vintage packs obviously can easily be tampered with versus the earlier stuff. So give me the kind of breakdown of what you guys look for.
Well, when you're looking at a vintage wax pack, you have to take into account how the pack was sealed. Mm-hmm. Well, the way Topps has done it for many years is that they take a hot metal roller and they go across to the back. And it's hard to see sometimes on camera, but you'll see that the wax here and here isn't disturbed. But then there's like a little rectangle that goes right across where the wax gets melted. And so you kind of see this thing called like a roller seal. And that's how the packs get melted. They don't get sealed any other way. And when you see evidence of tampering,
you're going to see every part.
Yeah, you'll see like the wax has been melted differently. Somebody might have used like a hair dryer or the stove, or you'll see remnants of glue for somebody doing a poor job at it. So that's one thing to look for. And another thing you want to look for is the way the packs are folded.
Right.
In the corners here, the corner folds. Once a pack's been opened, or if somebody has a loose wrapper lying around, they're trying to put together a pack from scratch, the wax starts to crinkle and crack.
Yeah, the paper itself, probably with age too, probably starts to
exactly
tear.
So if the folds look funny or they've been refolded, or sometimes the person trying to reseal a pack doesn't even fold it along the right lines, it's really obvious to tell, and that's the things that I would look for first when it comes to old wax.
Yeah, and with old wax, I mean, our next issue of Beckett's Sports Card Monthly is the online issue. So buying online is a lot more risky with stuff like this because you can't really inspect it beforehand.
Exactly.
That's, for me personally, I've never bought vintage wax on eBay. I've always gone through a dealer such as you guys because they do these immense buying trips where you buy in bulk. You buy, from established dealers who have had stuff for years. What other kind of things do you look for when buying, just in general? Is there anything else that's not specific to maybe resealing, but just in terms of quantities or volume that you look for with deals?
Well,
kind of an odd question.
I guess depending on what kind of deals offered to you, obviously the bigger the deal, the more worthwhile it is to travel to buy a collection. But collectors and dealers have different ways of organizing their collection. Sometimes it's in a basement, sometimes it's in an attic, sometimes it's in a garage. And all those things are taken into consideration when we're trying to figure out, well, can we make this deal work?
Right.
I'd like to say that they're all the same, but sometimes a lot of deals take a lot more effort because there's a lot more work involved.
Right. Longer term negotiations and things like that too. So.
And something to be said about carrying a couple hundred cases out of somebody's basement as opposed to it just being right there in the garage.
Yeah, or just emptying out a warehouse, from a warehouse to a truck. I mean, it's a little different. So off the top of your head, do you know anything about the background of your 75s here?
Well, 75 minis are a lot different than 75 Topps regular. The cards are exactly the same, just a small version of it, and Topps decided that they were going to make this kind of like this test product.
Right.
The interesting thing is that they didn't distribute it nationwide. And so the story that most people know now is that a collector back in the 70s named Charlie Conlon, who unfortunately passed away a couple years ago, saw this in 75 in Michigan, and he decided he was going to try to corner the market. So Charlie went and bought cases of this wherever he could find it and was very smart about holding it, sitting on it for decades. And he'd always been bleeding out these cases, these boxes, to collectors and dealers, and take the proceeds and probably just went out and bought the cards he really liked, because Charlie also built a nice vintage collection as well. Well, when Charlie passed away, all of his stuff came into the market, and they tried the auction house, I can't remember who had it, tried to divide it up the best they could, and the price came down a little bit, but it's kind of all spread out, so it's still a very popular product, and there's definitely less of this than 75 Topps baseball.
And that's why we want to do this one first. It's the oldest one we're going to have of our Rippin' Retail selection or Rippin' Retail Retro selection. It's also one that's a little more unique. So obviously key rookie cards in 75 were Robin Yount, George Brett. There's obviously Hall of Famers such as Pete Rose, or sorry, not Pete Rose, Hank Aaron, Steve Carlton, you name it, they're in here. It's kind of a who's who of the 70s, pretty classic set. I think it's time to rip into these.
Sure. You want to go first?
I'll go first.
All right.
I kind of want to savor it, but I kind of just want to tear in too. It's like I don't want to destroy the wrapper. Oh yeah. And here's the real catch. A 37-year-old gum not going to do it.
It makes noise when you drop it.
Yeah. It'll
Sounds
probably,
like porcelain. There we go.
It did break. I was shocked it broke. Yeah, it does sound exactly like porcelain. You could do some damage with that, I'm sure. Now, obviously, with older cards, you do have wax stains. And that's one of the things in the past, along with the gum, that's changed. But this card took it on the front, which is not a big deal. It's actually doesn't look that bad, really, from a distance. So, the most valuable players subset, a dual card of Brooks Robinson and Ken Boyer. And these are obviously slightly smaller than the 2.5 by 3.5. Printed on the standard dark cardboard of the 70s. Let's see here. All right. I'll skip cards here. Another card from that same set, a Johnny Bench Boog Powell. And obviously with vintage cards, your quality control is a little more different than now. Obviously you're gonna have cards that are miscut, but that's miscut one way, but otherwise it's a very clean card that probably will grade pretty well.
I think in the 70s, or even back in the day, I think the guys at Topps who were cutting the cards just closed their eyes and
Pretty much.
let the blade fall.
Pretty much. I mean, and these look very good in terms of they're not really diamond cut. That's, for me, a diamond cut's way worse than a miscut card. I hate
I
diamond
can't look
cuts.
at diamond cut cards.
Yeah. Rudy May of the Yankees. That's a very clean card. If we had the grading guys in here, they'd probably be talking about all the little, nuances. I mean, that one's pretty well centered. There's a couple of little printing dots, but they look pretty clean otherwise.
It's a good thing about a packed fresh card. It's got nice sharp corners, you get nice clean edges. Centering is what you're just hoping for.
Right, exactly. Bill Campbell, Twins pitcher. I wasn't even alive for this year of baseball. I was born in '76, so I'm going to not know some of the commons here for sure. I'll just tell you that straight up right now. This one's not very well centered. In fact, it's got a little bit of the next card. I wish I could read it, but it's a pretty decent name, Mickey Lolich. I just like the 75s because of the color. This is really the most colorful set of the decade. Rogelio Moret.
Some people like to open the packs and they kind of squeeze out the card one
Slowly
by one.
reveals.
They're looking
Yeah.
for the name of the team or looking for the colors. And this is
Yeah.
one of those things where, when you see that green and purplish card, you're thinking
George
Brett.
Brett. Yeah,
You see that brown and orange one, you're thinking Robin Yount.
Exactly. Joe Horner, not exactly a George Brett, but he is a Royal.
No,
So
wrong colors.
Yeah.
This one, it's more the colors and the team name at the top.
now these packs are a little bit more expensive, but maybe not as expensive as you might think. They're about $40 a piece right now. This card right here might cover it if you got it graded. Maybe not. It's not perfect, but it's a Rod Carew, a batting leaders card. If you got that graded, you might get pretty close. You might get your money closer back. You're not going to pay for your pack, but that's probably the best card in this pack so far. So next is a Larry Bittner, and I'll go ahead and just double up real fast. My last card is a Tom Bergmeyer. So I definitely didn't get the who's who of the 70s, but I did get a couple of subset cards with some pretty big names, and a leader card that I fumbled but did not damage. So there's my 3 best cards out of the pack.
Definitely not nice colors.
Oh yeah.
Centering less than desirable, but that's the crapshoot with opening packs.
Oh yeah. Well, I mean that's the thing. I'm not for that kind of stuff. I'm not all that worried. It's really about the fun of what do you find. So
Right.
speaking of that, what do you find?
There's 10 cards in there, right?
Let's see here. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Yep, that's actually more than I thought it was going to be. I thought it was 8, but
So you can't make a set out of a box, but you can still get quite a few of the players from the set.
oh, you got the magic gum sticking to the back of the card on your pack.
Gum flaked off pretty nicely.
Yeah. Sometimes that leaves oil and damage, but that one looks pretty clean.
Yeah. All right, the first card I got is the MVP card. And this is the one with Maris on it.
There you go. He's starting off stronger than I did. Roger Maris is always good in my book.
Another guy from before my time, Mario Guerrero.
It's a good photo though. Good retro back to the camera kind of shot. That right there says 70s and 80s all by itself.
Got another MVP card. This is the one with Ernie Banks on it. This is Leroy Stanton, the unfortunate acid spot there.
Which one?
Ran the border.
Oh yeah.
Another miscut card there, Earl Williams.
But the thing is, people now love to complain about quality control. They have no idea how bad it was in the past.
Exactly.
I've done many columns / lectures on that because people just complain about the new stuff, and it's like you have no idea. I mean, now it's more of a pre-produced. It's a science almost because they expect it to be so clean. But back then, it was just sheets of cardboard and wires basically cutting cards.
This is what Chris was talking about a diamond cut card.
Yeah.
Where the border.
It's a parallelogram.
Exactly. Another miscut card there. Sandy Alomar.
There you go.
Dad to Sandy Jr. and
Yep.
Robbie.
Here's another big bopper. That's a cool card there.
Yeah. And
Cool photo, cool colors.
the one next to the gum is the Lozinski.
There you go.
Now, unlike 75 Tops, this wasn't available in all different forms. It was available in wax. There are mini cellos out there. And I believe there are mini racks, but
Wow.
I've never seen a vending product. I can't imagine that it got to that point
No.
where they were making vending for this.
Yeah, I mean, vending boxes are. I'll show one off real fast here. But vending boxes are essentially big bricks of cards for dealers to make factory sets out of. And we'll be busting one of those a little bit later on here in our series. So, any other thoughts on 75 Tops minis or just in general with this product?
No, I think it's definitely a much more affordable option to 75 Tops regular. You're going to get all the same players.
Tougher cards too.
From a grading aspect, some of the minis are extremely expensive because people will try to put together this set, all graded, and some of the commons, several $100s a piece for high grade. It's just the way they come off the sheet. Sometimes it's the card on the edge of the corner of the sheet. It's always going to be off center. It's always going to have
certain
some
players
kind of
always get damaged or always get cut crooked. I mean, that's throughout. Up until the. Trying to think the last time we used to note it in the price guide, still do on most sets with a pot or an exclamation point.
Yeah.
And like 79 Tops, Ozzie Smith, 78 Tops, Eddie Murray, 1980 I don't think has any. Probably 1980 on probably doesn't.
Right.
But the older stuff, there's always cards like that are notorious.
84 Doris Joe Carter.
There you go.
That's an exclamation point card.
So that was our first edition of Ripping Retail Retro with Reed. Hey, how about that?
Yeah.
That's an even better name.
Perfect.
Now, here's the cool part. We're down here on Beckett.com. When you find this video, we'll let you vote for what video you want to see next week. We'll have a list of all the stuff you can choose from. We're not going to have any 52 Tops unless they really want to cough up some packs.
If we had anything in stock, too.
Yeah. So check it out. We'll let you know you'll let us know what you want to see next week, and we'll give it to you. So I'm Chris Olds. This is Reed Kasaoka of the Baseball Card Exchange, and this was Rippin' Retail Retro with Reed. We'll see you next time.